It's the NUKA-COLA Lounge, presented by the Triple S League.
NUKA-COLA was a popular drink in the pre-war era, and still is today.
Hey everybody, welcome to the NUKA-COLA Lounge podcast. My name is Ashinity, not Ashinity, Failstream, Ashinity. Learn to read. No, just kidding. Failstream's awesome. Thanks for playing my level. It was fun to watch. So, I am here as always with the man with no face, Obsidian. How are you doing, sir?
Good. I'm good.
And we also have Bad Option with us again.
Hi-yo!
Hi-yo.
Thanks for having me.
Can you yodel?
Yodelahoo!
I don't know what prompted me to ask that, but just...
I don't know either. I'm really confused right now.
I'm having a weird day.
So I have discovered that the gullibility of humans right now in this generation is something akin to a doorknob and a chicken or a bag of nails, possibly. Those three things have more deductive powers than most people. I
those
just want to throw
three
this
things
out here.
had a baby together.
Yeah, I want to throw this out here. We got a screenshot that we're gonna throw at you here. Take this picture and show it to random people. Well, not random people. Don't walk up to random people on the street. That might result in not cool things. But ask like coworkers and stuff like that. Just show them this picture and say, look at this base that the drones are building on Mars. Isn't this just amazing? And it's what it is it's actually a game. It's Deserts of...
It's a new homeworld, right?
Yeah, it's the new homeworld game.
Deserts of Karak.
Yeah, Deserts of Karak. I think what they've actually done here is they actually did take a picture of Mars, and they overlaid this like base over top of it because some of the dev team has actually worked with NASA. And so just take this picture, say, "Oh, hey, look at this picture." Like it's got, BBI Blackbird Interactive is the studio who's making the game. And I bet you, like, probably a good 80% of people will go, "Oh, that's so cool." It's not that they're not, aware of what's going on. Like, casually somebody should have picked up that they've sent multiple, these small rover missions to Mars to look around, check for water,
Yeah.
all this other kind of like basic stuff. They're nowhere near sending a manned mission to Mars. But
No.
the amount of people who think that that stupid Martian movie with what's his face was a documentary, it just astounds me.
Matt Damon!
What's his face? That would be Matt Damon's face.
Yes.
But of course, the number of people who was it District 7 or District 9?
District 9.
District 9, yeah.
So the amount of people who thought District 9 was a bloody documentary because it was filmed as a documentary, as a mockumentary. I heard it when that movie came out onto DVD. Somebody was talking about, oh, what's a good movie to watch? And somebody suggested, if you haven't seen District 9, you should watch it. And she's like, oh yeah, I've seen commercials for that, but I'm not really interested in watching a documentary.
Oh,
right
come
now.
on. I think
like,
they were messing with you at that point.
No. This person
One would
was-
hope. One
Yeah.
would hope that they were messing with you.
People are so gullible, and sometimes it's the media's fault, and we're gonna have a lot of discussions about how the media
doesn't
up today.
If you talk about popular science articles, even people who are really interested in science can be misled by these things because, what's actually said in say a new journal is published about, some planet's been discovered that may possibly have liquid water. The popular media takes that, and it's like, scientists think there's life on Zeta Alpha 27-9b. What? No, that's not what it says.
Well, there appears to be liquid water, so theoretically that means there's life on it.
There could be liquid water, right? Like,
Oh,
they
we-
can tell...
We later found out that it's actually just a gigantic ocean of acid. Sorry. The media does tend to screw things up, and even within the gaming industry, I've got an article here that was written on the 19th, and you have an article there that was written, on the 18th, 19th?
I have an article that is written, it doesn't give the actual date, it just says 2 days ago, so that would be...
That would be the 19th.
That would be the 19th. We record a day before we post the podcast, so, yeah, 19th.
So here's what my article says. Skyrim Fallout developers, quote, Bethesda, has 7 projects in the works, including bigger games. And what does your article say?
Bethesda has 3 new projects in the works. 2 of them are classically Bethesda.
So it's like
Classic.
It's like okay, we read into this article a little bit more, and we find out that your article has omitted how many from that count from the quote new projects.
It was omitted 4 of what are referenced in your article. This one's talking about unannounced projects. 2 classically Bethesda games, quote, in quote, classically Bethesda games, and the third is a mobile game, something like Fallout Shelter.
But the mobile game hasn't been announced. Neither have those 2 new classical games. That's 3. Okay. Mm-hmm. They talk about the Skyrim for the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
And Fallout 4 for VR.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
5 total. Yeah.
That's a 5 total. Where are the other 2?
I ate them.
Apparently, because
yeah, where does 7 projects come from?
My theory is there was something lost in translation, and Bethesda's actually working on a big game called Project 7. That's what we should be expecting.
Yeah,
Or maybe the other big one, open world Commander Keen game. Come on, baby.
Oh, that would be.
Oh, Commander Keen, yeah.
Open world gritty.
How has that game not gotten either a spiritual successor or a direct successor? I just don't understand.
I don't know. There were so many cool things you could do with it now. Now that because the original games in that series are so old.
Yeah.
There wasn't too much. They're like original Mario, era kind of platformers, and there's so much you could do with it now. And if you brought it into 3D, like they'll take place in this kid's imagination. Imagine the stuff you could do.
Scribblenauts.
I mean, even Lara Croft and the Tomb Raider series was essentially a spiritual successor from the Jill of the Jungle type games that were out before then too. So I never actually did find out. That's actually something I should look up to see if they actually do have any direct correlation. It's one is a very athletic girl who prances around in a bathing suit, finding artifacts in ancient jungled ruins, and the other one is a busty archaeologist who prances around in short shorts in a series of jungly type ruins to find artifacts. It's just I'm just assuming there's some kind of a correlation there.
Could be. But did you know? A big deal was made of Lara Croft's bust size when she was originally, when the game first came out. Did you know that was actually originally a mistake in the coding?
Really?
One of the programmers set the value to accidentally twice what it was supposed to be, and they were like, "Yeah, let's go with that." Okay, whatever. And thus, a new generation of in-game body types was born.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, now on to this. Let's talk about this PewDiePie thing. So, what's your guys' take on it first?
After you, sir.
And I know it's been talked to death in the YouTube world. It's been talked to death, and it's been talked to death in pretty much everywhere else. I even heard it being discussed on local radio yesterday, which I just kind of slapped did a face palm. And
he's a big deal, though. He really is. He's one of the most recognizable celebrities in the world. And
oh yeah, no, he is. He's got 55 million subscribers. I am one of them. But
me too.
The fact that the conversation was like, oh, isn't it terrible what he did? Oh, is it oh yeah, he totally crossed the line there. And that's what they were talking about on the radio. Never mind the fact that the original piece was what I would consider a hit piece. There was no facts. Every single joke was taken out of context massively.
Yep.
One of the videos that they used primarily was of him acting as another person, not himself at all. And it even said it on the videos, this is some random internet troll basically who's using the hero program to enforce the will of YouTube to mainstream every single YouTuber and to get rid of, which was that horrible program.
YouTube heroes, yes. We won't get into that, but yes, my take on the PewDiePie situation is that I have to agree that it was a hit piece. It was an utterly despicable incident of character assassination on the part of these Wall Street Journal journalists. Mm-hmm. I'm doing air quotes, journalists, because I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I thought journalism came with some kind of academic integrity when it comes to sourcing.
Not just opinions, right?
Yeah. even an opinion piece still should be sourced and have sound reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
Not like, we're going to take all of these things out of context, and it absolutely was out of context. And I can't believe there's a debate going on now amongst some people. Does context really matter? Like, yes, of course context frickin' matters.
And one of the events that they took was him talking to his mother, saying, "Hail Hydra," which, is a quote from the Avengers and
S.H.I.E.L.D. and anything else.
Captain America universe. It's like, really? Oh my goodness. Just,
So they were not well informed on the topic matter that they were covering, or the topic matter that PewDiePie likes to talk about.
Yeah.
He's all about gaming and nerd culture.
And this is where I have serious doubts, and this is where it builds into my final point on this, is that you're telling me that these journalists didn't even take the time to do a basic internet search of some of the things that he said, like Hail Hydra? And they're like, hey, look, he's not only a Nazi, he's a bad Nazi because he's saying Hail Hydra. Hitler's name wasn't Hydra, but maybe it's a euphemism. It's like, maybe there's some thing here that makes, and you're just sitting there going, you're like 2 seconds on a search engine. Plus, how have you, as major journalists, how have you guys not seen, or at least had some kind of experience with the number one series and movies in recent history? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Well, I think almost everybody who has covered this, not everybody, but almost everybody, sees the absurdity. You do have some of the nutcases on the fringe saying, well, context doesn't matter. He dressed up, he was watching Hitler on his screen. That's bad, so therefore he's bad. Well, okay. If you're going to completely remove the context, that was the whole point. Hitler is bad, and he was trying to make a point about something. Now, this isn't about whether or not you like PewDiePie as an artist. This isn't about the quality of his jokes, contrary to this one article that I read that I'll touch on in a sec. It's not about his content at all. It was about, again, taking things out of context and just trying to assassinate him, his character, in the mainstream media.
Yeah.
There's no other way that logically makes sense to slice it.
I've got two things that kind of irk me. These people from Fiverr, the poor little boys that held up the sign, and the fellow playing Jesus, if they hadn't accepted the $5 to do this thing, he wouldn't have had a video other than the video being him trying to get people to do these, let's not kid ourselves, horrible things for $5. And it just would have been fail after fail after fail after fail. It still would have been funny because he was just seeing what people could do for $5. But the Wall Street Journal kind of breezed by all the other things until this happened. They brought up things that had never bothered anybody from the past, 4 months, 8 months, 9 months ago. And now they're throwing it into this mixing pot of garbage to make it seem like he's been the devil all along and we've just missed it somehow. When these videos have been there the entire time and they've been funny, and it's just,
Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's completely absurd. I mean, this doesn't mean you have to like PewDiePie's comedy.
No.
If you don't like his jokes, if you don't like his style, and if you don't think what he does is funny, if you don't think these things are funny, and I didn't find the Fiverr videos that he paid for, didn't find them particularly funny, they were shocking.
Yeah.
And I think the point he was trying to make is, holy crap, look at what people will do for $5.
Yeah.
And the point was, this is bad. It is bad to say, and then these poor kids, I mean, who knows if they even knew what it actually said.
Fired from Fiverr, as did Fake Jesus. They got let go from the company.
They're back in now.
They're back in, yes, but originally everyone had such a disgusted reaction to it, and it was just like, shut it all down! And
well, I'm glad. I mean, it makes sense that those videos would be removed. And quite frankly, it makes sense that Disney would distance themselves from PewDiePie.
Yeah,
Considering Disney's quite shady past on the subject, they kind of had to.
I'm saying it makes sense. I'm not saying that it was necessarily fair.
I was shocked to learn through all of this, because I didn't know before this that Disney supported PewDiePie. With all of his F-bombs and sexuality, what were they doing with him in the first place? Really?
Making money. That's
fair enough.
They bought out Maker Studios that had like a ton of YouTubers on it. They bought it out as a whole so that they could buy out, especially PewDiePie and a few other top YouTubers, because Disney's smart. They know that classical media, interaction online is changing. They understand that there's a new game in town, and they're not dumb. Unlike Wall Street Journal, and this is my final point here. So the Wall Street Journal has, if you count up everything, it's not even 3 million people who go to their site, use their information commonly.
Wow.
There were, I think it's down to like 10% of people that read the actual report from them and saw the actual video. That's less than 10% of the amount of people who watched PewDiePie react and give a response to them. And they showed up at his house, and this is the funny thing. This is a very important thing to note here. They showed up after his house, after they leveled these accusations, after they did this incredibly, terribly bad journalistic work, and they showed up at his house and said, hey, look, you have to answer on our platform because we have a platform in which you can respond. And he looks at them, PewDiePie and his 55 million direct supporters, direct subscribers, a mountain of supporters and position of power in new media, looking down at a guy who's standing on top of a truck, saying, hey, you have to come down to me and answer these allegations that we flimsily threw at you because our position is so much higher than the average people. That is why the media as a whole kind of jumped on this and really kind of ran with it, because a lot of these media organizations, they have, hundreds of people employed, and they get a few million, what you might call current day subscribers, and they have a huge chunk of the advertising in the world. Like, these people, utilize a larger chunk of advertising, and more money comes to them for advertising than it does for many, many, many other types and genres. In fact, if you were to take all news in the world, all news like television stations, news stations, cable news, international news, newspapers, the amount of money that they get for advertising as a whole for the industry is massively over top of what YouTube gets for their advertising. But more people in the world are signing up and using YouTube now. Just as many people are using YouTube now than there are people utilizing traditional newspapers and local media and stuff like that. Like, even us, I think we have more views and more general interactions than our local papers in both of our cities that we live in.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that certain journalists and certain groups of people in traditional media, they abhor that. They not only abhor that, they actively want to bring down that media. That's why they're always so very, very critical of, like, very seldomly. And there was a YouTuber who did an article on this recently. He took all of the bad press that YouTubers and YouTube gets, and he compared it to, quote, good press. And it's substantially heavier on the bad press side. And there's all these rumors that are thrown out about people. And YouTubers aren't perfect. There's a lot of YouTubers that have made some pretty terrible mistakes. But they will accentuate all of those things, not because it's, it gets clicks and it gets, ad bait and that kind of stuff, but because they want to bring this field and other fields like it down. There's a lot of journalists who despise Twitter because of, just look at the recent election. They don't like the fact that people can now go around the media to communicate to the public.
Yeah.
And in this particular case, they looked at the biggest YouTuber out there and said, we want to bring him down, and if we can bring him down, then we can bring anybody down. we can target any of these new news sources or new, commentators in YouTube, and we can destroy any of them. And that way we'll be back to being top dog, undisputed.
That's certainly what it looks like. I mean, we don't know
their motive.
What had happened in the boardrooms beyond the scenes, but it sure looks like somebody had it out for PewDiePie, the world's biggest YouTuber. Why else would they...
There's a handful of articles now that have come out that have called into question, this is why you shouldn't give money, this is why you shouldn't let, these YouTube creators, why you shouldn't give them a platform. And they're actually calling to reduce or destroy the platform.
Right. Yes, you're right. There were a bunch of these articles coming out, like something like, Disney and YouTube learned their lesson about, giving a platform to people like PewDiePie. What lesson did they learn?
They lost a lot of money.
They bowed to public pressure. They bowed to public pressure because the public perception was, PewDiePie is an anti-Semite to anyone who's never watched his stuff ever.
Right. And that's what I've been wondering about. Their official stance is because of this video and You Dig, and there's other ones. That's why they're pulling the plug. People like Disney and YouTube for this series that PewDiePie does, Scare PewDiePie. That's their official stance, is this is the incident. But something makes me think that it's not the event itself, but it's the media attention that it's getting that makes them want to distance themselves.
Yes and no.
We should move on from this just because we're really running out of time. But the mainstream media has picked a fight with the new media now.
It's going to get bloody.
The alternative media, if you will. And it's a fight they're not going to win.
News. E3 tickets are available to the public for the first time ever this year. Early bird tickets are sold out. They were $150 American monies, and you can't get those. But
but we're gonna tell you about what you missed out on.
Yeah, suckers! Actually, there may be some listeners who got in on the early bird. Leave it in the comments. For $250, you can get a ticket to E3 down in San Francisco. And it's going to be a riot. June 13th to 15th, 2017, this year. It's going to be so much fun. Don't bring deodorant so you can fit in. And it'll be awesome. I mean, you get to go on the show floors for all these big companies.
You mean the plebs now get to go to E3?
Yeah. Plebs, schlubs, whatever you want to call them.
That's good. That shows that they're expanding and that they're moving in the right direction. That's a good thing. On another quick final note, a new Mass Effect Andromeda trailer has dropped. It's a huge gameplay one. It's 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
5.5 minutes long. And it's really awesome. We're going to have tons and tons of Mass Effect footage when it goes live here in March. So it's going to be awesome.
Looking forward to that, absolutely. Well, thanks so much for listening to the NUKA-COLA Lounge podcast. Thanks so much to Bad Option and Obsidian.
Thank you.
Anything you want to see us cover on this podcast, leave a comment below or tweet us at SSS League. Follow us there for updates on what we're doing, what we're working on. Thanks so much again. We'll talk to you next week.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps us out a ton when you do that. Check out this video. It's one of our favorite things that we've done so far on our channel. And here's some more stuff you might like. See the description below for links to our Sugar Bomb forum and our mods on Nexus Mods.